So, dear students, today we will discuss about the new chapter, that is the chapter 2, hardware and software. So, computer as a device has two major components. One is called hardware and another is called software. So, what is hardware? All the physical components of a computer system which we can touch, we can see, and we can feel, such as mouse, keyboard, monitor, they come into the category of the hardware. While the programs that are loaded on this hardware that we can see on the screen as a soft output, they are called as softwares, such as an operating system. Window is a software. All the programs that run on it, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they all come into the category of the softwares. Now, let us go through the categories of the hardware, and the first category is the input devices. So, what are the input devices? So, as the name suggests, all the devices which are responsible for putting in the data, such as the mouse or the trackball or the scanner, webcam, a barcode reader. As you all know, whenever you go to the shopping, the billing is done through the barcode reader, optical character reader, or microphone. There are so many input devices. So, input devices are used to input data or sound or anything else into the computer's memory for processing. Then processing devices. Then again, when we give the input, after the input, there is a turn of processing. So processing is the manipulation of the data, the raw data that you input through the input devices, and that data is processed into a meaningful information. So the processing is done by a unit of computer that is called as CPU, that is the central processing unit. The CPU has two parts, that is, one is called as the control unit. The control unit controls all the activities of the computer system. It manages all the input output operations of the computer. The other unit is the arithmetic logic unit. So as the name suggests, it takes care of all the arithmetical, that is the mathematical and logical operations done by the computer. Now let's come to the next type of devices, which is the output devices. The output devices are the devices which give the output to the user after processing, and the output could be generated in two ways, one as the hard copy and one as the soft copy. So what is the difference between the hard copy and the soft copy? When we say a hard copy, what does it mean? The hard copy means when we get anything in the printed form on a paper, that is called the hard copy, whereas the soft copy is the data in the form of a software displayed on the screen, which we can manipulate. As I am teaching you, and you are seeing the data on your screens or mobile phones or maybe laptops or computers. So this is the soft copy. And if we take the printout of whatever I am teaching, the text is written on the screen, it will become the hard copy. So soft copy is displayed on the screen and it could be manipulated, modified, edited. So for giving the hard copy printouts, we need printers, and printers are broadly classified into two categories, and they are called as the impact printers and the non-impact printers. So what are the impact printers? So impact printers are the printers which have the printing media coming into the contact of the paper. The print head strikes a character against the inked ribbon, and that ribbon is struck against the paper. So the image of the character is printed on the paper. So the impact printers are divided into three major categories, that are the dot matrix printer, daisy wheel printer, and the line printer. So most of these printers, they are comparatively slower than the non-impact printers, and the dot matrix printers especially used to make a lots of noise. Then come the non-impact printers. The non-impact printers are those printers where the printing head does not come into the contact of the paper. The mechanism is like that, the printing, the paper is heated at the places where the text has to be printed, and there is a nozzle, and that nozzle sprays the ink, and that ink is attracted by the heated area, and the characters are formed on the paper. So there are two, in fact, three categories of the impact non-impact printers, and they are the inkjet printer, the laser printer, and the thermal printer. So laser printer is the most sophisticated of the printers, and this printer is generally used for high quality printing tasks. It is expensive to buy, but the print quality of the laser printer is very good. Whereas the inkjet printer is cheap to buy, but the printing cost of the inkjet printer is higher than the laser printer. Whereas the thermal printers are inexpensive alternative to the inkjet printers, and there is a thermal transfer printer that uses heat to transfer ink on to the paper. These printers bond the ink onto the paper by heating the pins that press against the special ink ribbon. So these are the three types of the non-impact printers. Now let us come to the another device that can draw on paper, and the device is called as a plotter. So what is a plotter? A plotter is a vector graphics printing device that connects to a computer. So plotters print their output by moving a pen across the surface of a piece of paper. So generally, plotters are used for the tasks which require a very accurate type of drawings on the paper, and these drawings could be related to the mechanical drawings or the civil drawings, mechanical drawing, the drawing of the machines, or the civil drawings, the drawings of the buildings, maps, or the plotters can also plot different type of graphics they can print on the paper, uh, the tasks that could not be done by the printers. But generally and specifically, the plotters are used for drawing high accuracy drawings. Now we have learned about the devices which can give the hard copy. Now we will learn about some devices which may give the soft copy. And first type of this device is a visual display unit, that is called as the monitor, where we see the output of whatever we are doing. And the monitors are also divided into different categories. The most commonly used two categories are the CRT monitors and the LCD monitors. So what are the CRT monitors? So you must have seen the old monitors which are bulky in size, and they use a cathode ray tube. So cathode ray tube works on the principle that on this type of a screen, moving an electron beam across a phosphorus coated surface, and it produces the data image. So these printers have now become obsolete, mostly uh, because these printers were heavy and they used to consume lots of electricity, and UPSs they could not give backup for long for these type of monitors. So nowadays we use the LCD monitors, the liquid crystal display monitors, which are lighter and their display quality is much better than the CRT monitors, and they consume very less power as compared to the CRT monitor. So if we are running the LCD monitors on the battery also, so they will run for a longer time. Now another type of hardware devices are the storage devices. So obviously when we work on a computer, we need to store the data information somewhere. So these storage devices are responsible for storing the data and information in a computer system or a mobile phone or whatever. So the storage devices are broadly classified into two categories. The first category is the primary storage, and second category is the secondary storage. The primary storage is again divided into two categories, that is the RAM, that is random access memory, and the read-only memory. So primary storage unit is used for the activities such as input-output operations, manipulation of the text, logic or comparison of operations, storage and retrieval operations, and so on. So what is RAM? RAM stands for the random access memory. So whatever work we do on a computer, then that work we are doing in the random access memory. And random access memory is also called as a volatile memory or the temporary memory, because the random access memory in random access memory the data remains till the power is switched on or the software is on. So as soon as the power goes off, or we shut down the computer, or we close the software, whatever is in the RAM is wiped out. So whatever data is the RAM has to be saved to the secondary storage for the permanent storage. The other type of primary memory is the read-only memory. So read-only memory retains the data when the power supply is lost, and unlike the RAM, the ROM chips are not volatile. So what ROM chips contain? They contain the microprograms which control uh, the operations of the computer, such as the starting of the computer and all the instructions that we give to the operating system. So there are three types of ROM. One is called as programmable read-only memory, then the erasable programming read-only memory, and electrically erasable and programmable read-only memory. So programmable read-only memory means that it allows the chip to be programmed by the user for converting critical and lengthy operations into small programs that are fused into a chip, that is ROM. Then comes the erasable programmable read-only memory, where the data can be erased and reprogrammed with the help of the ultraviolet light. Then the last category, electrically erasable and programmable read-only memory, where the data written in the ROM can be reprogrammed with special electrical pulses. So these are the three types of uh, ROM. Now let's come to the secondary memory. Secondary memory is a permanent memory where the data remains and saved for the future reference. So secondary memory storage is a non-volatile memory that is stored externally to a computer. A secondary storage medium is usually used with a large amount of data for permanent or long-term storage. So different secondary storage media can be ranked. They can be ranked according to the retrieval speed, how fast the data can be taken from the secondary storage, the capacity, how much data they can store, and how much they cost per bit. Um, they cost more or they cost less. So some of the examples of the secondary memory are the hard disk, a, a device that is fitted inside the laptops and the computers, the floppy disk, the optical devices such as the DVD, the CD, the Blu-ray disc, and the other devices such as the pen drive and the memory stick and so on. So these devices can store the data for a longer period of time and permanently. Now, what is a software? A set of instructions makes a program, and a set of programs make a software. So whatever we see, whatever we witness around us on mobile phones, on computers, the programs running, applications running, they are all examples of the softwares. So here we are talking about the softwares which are being run on the computers. So a software may have a graphical user interface. It has the capability to run on the multiple platforms. Platforms means they can run on Windows, they can run on Linux, or they can run on Android or other operating systems, and with other, and they are compatible with other softwares. Then the pre-written software. So there is a category of the softwares which are pre-written softwares. The pre-written softwares are the softwares which are written before for a particular purpose, and they are again divided into three categories, and they are the application software, system software, and the programming software. So the system software are the softwares which is set of instructions that serve primarily as an intermediary between the computer hardware and the application program. So the applications or the system softwares, they work as the interface between the user and the hardware. For example, we give some instruction to the software, and the software gives instruction to the hardware, like we give a printing command, or we give a command to the scanner, or whatever. So system software also performs many other operations, such as managing the hardware, the command interpretation, the memory management, and so on. So what are the application software? So application software, as the name suggests, are the softwares which are developed for a specific purpose, for a specific application. The examples of the application softwares are the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or accounting software. The Word is used for typing. The Excel is used for doing small calculations. MS Access, a database management system, it is used for storing the data that can be retrieved later. Reservation systems, attendance systems, so the payroll systems, they are all examples of the application software. The accounting systems, they are examples of the application softwares. Now there are another type of software which come into the under the category of the system software, that is called as the operating system. So operating system is a very important software, without which a computer or a mobile is lifeless, a laptop is lifeless. So first we have to install an operating system. The examples of the operating system are the Windows. So what we do, if we have a computer system, the first thing is done that we get a Windows operating system installed on a computer, and then we install other software such as MS Office or any other software. So the operating system brings life to the computer, and through operating system the hardware is also operated. Operating system acts as an interface between the user and the hardware devices. And the operating system obviously is a category of the system software. Now what are the utility programs? The utility programs are the programs which are responsible for the management and the maintenance and the running of a computer system. And the examples of the utility programs are the disk defragmenter, disk cleaners, data compression software, the antivirus softwares, ScanDisk, and there are many other softwares which are used for enhancing the performance of the computer system, as well as maintaining the computer so that it can work properly. The mobile application. So nowadays the mobiles are so popular, and we are all using mobiles every day in our day-to-day life. And these mobiles also have applications that we use, we download, and these applications are downloaded from different stores depending upon what type of operating system your mobile is using. If your mobile is using an Android operating system, then you must download the application from the Google Play Store. If it is using a Windows operating system, then you may use a Windows Store, or if you are using an iPhone or iOS as an operating system, then you can download the application from App Store. And there are so many different type of apps which are available for everyone on these stores, and these apps can be downloaded for free of by paying some amount of money. Now let's come to the programming software. So programming is a very important part of computing. Whatever we see, we are talking about the apps, we are talking about the softwares, but how these softwares, these apps are designed, created. These apps, these programs, they are designed, they are created using a programming language. So how this programming language work, and what is the requirement for creating the programming language? So first of all, we require a text editor. For example, a notepad is a text editor where we can write a program. And what is a program? A program is a set of instruction which is written in any computer language. What is a computer language? A computer language is a language which can be understood by the computer. It is also called as a programming language. So the programming language is a language through which we can create the programs, applications, and we give instruction to the computer system. So the way of writing a programming language is called as syntax. Now the programming languages are divided in different categories. The first category of the programming languages are the low level programming languages. So what are the low level programming language? The low level programming languages are divided into two categories: the first generation and the second generation. So first generation is obviously called as the machine language. The machine language is a language which is understood by the computer system, and it consists of only two digits, that is 0 and 1. So all the instructions which are given through the machine language to the computer, they are all the combinations of zeros and ones. So obviously the machine language, when we give instruction using it, then the instructions are understood by the computer fast, because we are giving instructions in the language of the computer. Then comes another low level language which is called as the assembly language. The assembly language is another language which is advanced than the machine language, easier than the machine language, but it also needs a software which is called as the assembler to translate the assembly language to the machine language. So the assembly language is also dependent on the hardware. It could not work with every type of hardware. Then come the high level language. So these high level languages are the most advanced type of languages, and they are most easiest also, because anyone who has the aptitude or interest in computer programming can learn the programming languages very easily, because their syntax is English like and anyone can learn them. So the examples of the high level languages are basic C, C++, Java, Visual C++, and Fortran, and there are so many. So if you are interested, you can master a high level language, and you can develop the programs, the softwares, the apps using these high level languages. Now because the high level languages are not understood by the computer directly, they need some programs to translate those high level languages to the computer understandable machine language. So there are the two softwares which are used for this purpose. The first is called as the compiler, and another is called as the interpreter. The compiler converts the high level language programs and the code to the machine language in one go. uh, and uh, the interpreter is also a type of compiler, but it translates or executes one source program statement at a time. Means the interpreter converts the program line by line, whereas the compiler can convert the whole program together to the machine language, or we can say the object code. So that is the basic difference between the compiler and the interpreter. Both of them are used for converting the high level language program to the machine language, because computer can only understand the machine language without interpreting, without translating the language to the machine language. The computer would not take the instructions. So that's all for today. Thank you.